the victims here. We are being victimized.
Did you know that The Simpsons have predicted future events with astonishing accuracy? From technological advancements to historical moments, this show has nailed it more times than we could ever imagine. But do they really have supernatural powers, or is it all just coincidence? This month, an image circulating online from a 2002 Simpsons episode seems to reflect a real-life event set to happen in 2025. Could this series have predicted the future once again? Stay with us till the end, because we'll reveal what's behind these amazing Simpsons predictions. And no, it's not the end of the world. The surprising prediction of The Simpsons about Trump and American politics. One of The Simpsons' most striking predictions wasn't about new technology or a global event, but about Donald Trump. It all started in the 1998 episode titled Bart to the Future, where a vision of the future was presented in which Trump was the President of the United States.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
At the time, this seemed like nothing more than a joke satirizing American politics. But in 2016, reality proved stranger than fiction when Trump was elected president. But what makes this prediction even more surprising is that The Simpsons also predicted a Trump campaign for 2024, something that seemed completely out of place when the episode aired. And as if that weren't enough, The Simpsons even suggested that Ivanka Trump could run for president in 2028. What's going on here? Are we simply witnessing a lucky stroke in the writing of an animated series? Or do The Simpsons really have the ability to predict the future? Maybe it's not so crazy to think that The Simpsons are somehow connected to the flow of time, or maybe we're just living out a script that was written years ago when everything seemed unthinkable. The new heir, The Simpsons, prediction about the future of the British royal family. As we move into 2025, The Simpsons continues to demonstrate its amazing ability to predict events that seem to leap off the screen and become tangible realities. One of the most intriguing predictions involves Prince Harry as a future heir to the British throne. This idea was first presented in the 2003 episode The Regina Monologues, where Homer has a conversation with a teenage Prince Harry, jokingly suggesting that he could become king one day. At the time, the prediction seemed like just a joke, but in the current context of the British monarchy, it becomes surprisingly relevant. With recent changes in the royal family and Harry and Meghan stepping back from the front line of royalty, the family dynamics have drastically shifted. What once seemed impossible now becomes a possibility that, according to some experts, could become a reality in the near future. Nostradamus, the famous prophet, also suggested in his writings a major shift in royal power, something that some believe aligns with the possible ascension of Harry to the throne. Could 2025 be the year that turns The Simpsons fiction into reality? Over time, the show's wildest predictions have proven to have a surprising connection to real events, and this one is no exception. The British monarchy will never be the same, and if Harry decides to take on a more prominent role, the writers in Springfield might have been closer to the truth than we ever imagined. Definitely something to keep an eye on. The future of holograms. According to The Simpsons, are we ready for 3D communication? Imagine a future where video calls are no longer in 2D, but you can see people as if they were standing right in front of you in 3D, thanks to holograms. In one Simpsons episode, the family receives a holographic invitation, which seemed like a futuristic and somewhat extravagant idea at the time. However, hologram technology is advancing rapidly, and today there are devices capable of projecting high-definition 3D images, like DROC, making holographic projection closer to reality. These types of technologies are already being tested in various industries, and some experts believe holograms could be the next big step in the evolution of digital communication. Imagine a world where work meetings, presentations, or even family calls take place in a holographic environment, eliminating flat screens and providing a much more realistic and immersive experience. Companies like Microsoft and Google are already working on advanced holography developments, and it seems like holograms could soon go from science fiction to part of our daily lives. In a way, The Simpsons already gave us a glimpse of the future, showing us a world where holograms were as common as today's video calls. The question is, are we ready for a future where holograms are a part of our everyday life? It might just be a matter of time before we receive more 3D invitations than paper ones. Virtual food and virtual reality in gastronomy, a banquet of the future. What if you could enjoy a luxurious meal without having to leave your home? Sounds like science fiction, right? But The Simpsons already showed us this in one of their most unusual Treehouse of Horror episodes, when Homer and Marge enjoy a virtual dinner while wearing virtual reality headsets. In that episode, virtual food seemed like a completely ridiculous concept, an exaggerated satire of technological advances. However, today, companies around the world are working to make what The Simpsons predicted a reality. In several high-end restaurants and luxury cruise ships, virtual reality, VR, is being used to create immersive dining experiences. Imagine a world where, while enjoying an exquisite dish, technology transports you to a virtual environment, creating a multi-sensory experience that not only involves taste, but also sight, sound, and even touch. Some restaurants are already integrating VR technologies that allow diners to travel virtually to different parts of the world while enjoying a meal without ever leaving the table. This phenomenon is not only exciting, but also shows how virtual reality is expanding beyond entertainment and becoming a tool for social interaction and sensory experience. Are we headed toward a future where virtual food and augmented reality are as normal as online ordering? If The Simpsons predicted this, maybe we're closer than we think. Black holes, a cosmic phenomenon predicted by The Simpsons. In a classic Simpsons episode titled Treehouse of Horror, Lisa accidentally creates a tiny black hole at a science fair, unleashing total chaos as Springfield residents carelessly throw objects and even people into the hole without understanding the dangers. This surreal moment is just one of the many comedic nods The Simpsons has made over the years about cosmic phenomena. But, as usual, there's more to this joke than meets the eye. In real life, black holes remain one of the most baffling mysteries of astrophysics. In 2019, the first image of a black hole was captured by the Event Horizon Telescope, marking a milestone in the exploration of the cosmos. By 2025, new technologies such as advanced space telescopes and extreme physics simulations are bringing us closer to understanding these phenomena. However, as The Simpsons shows, human curiosity and recklessness could lead us to play with forces we don't fully understand. The Simpsons episode not only reflects our need to explore the unknown, but also our tendency to misunderstand or misuse powerful technologies, such as particle accelerator experiments. Today, the ethical dilemmas of scientific experiments related to black holes are a hot topic. While the show exaggerates the dangers of these phenomena with its characteristic humorous tone, the reality of the physics behind black holes is much more complex and dangerous than we imagine. The 1993 pandemic predicted by The Simpsons, a disturbing coincidence? In 1993, The Simpsons were already ahead of their time with a prediction that, although exaggerated and surreal at the time, became frighteningly real in the following years. In the episode Marge in Chains, Springfield faces a flu epidemic that spreads alarmingly. In the plot, the characters fight against a virus that is transmitted in a very similar way to the global COVID-19 pandemic that would change the world in 2020. In one of the most unsettling moments, Homer jokes, saying, "My God, the flu germs entering through every opening in my head," a line that could have come directly from the news at the time, when outbreaks and preventive measures were coming to the forefront of daily life. What's impressive about this prediction is how The Simpsons detailed a pandemic originating from unusual objects, similar to how COVID-19 began to spread with certain markets and animals in Asia as the epicenter of the outbreak. This satire, which in the 90s seemed like nothing more than a joke, became reality 2 decades later. Was it just a coincidence? Or are we truly so globally interconnected that events like this become inevitable? With the world more interconnected than ever, perhaps The Simpsons simply knew how to reflect the inherent vulnerability of our society, combining comedy with eerily accurate predictions. The truth is, the episode served as a warning and a strange reflection on how viruses can spread quickly in the age of globalization. The prophecy of World War III, The Simpsons, and the tone of global threats. In an episode of The Simpsons, Homer makes one of those classic humorous statements that, in retrospect, seem much more than just a joke. In this case, it's his warning about World War III, something that at the time was interpreted as a satirical and absurd comment. However, looking at the current geopolitical tensions and growing nuclear threats in the world today, this joke from Homer takes on a new and chilling relevance. From the war in Ukraine to bellicose movements in various nations, international tensions are at historic levels. Although The Simpsons has always been about satire, many wonder if the show has been glimpsing a very dark future, or if they're simply reflecting the social and political realities in an exaggerated manner. Despite this grim tone, The Simpsons has also managed to balance the darker predictions with a view of human resilience over the years. Despite the disasters presented in the show, there's always a touch of optimism in characters like Marge and Lisa, who remind us that humanity has a surprising capacity for recovery. Maybe, rather than warnings about the end of the world, these Simpsons prophecies are nothing more than calls to action, to innovate, to prepare for the unexpected, and to find a brighter future even in the midst of darkness. Digital avatars. The Simpsons predicted the future of virtual communication. In a futuristic episode of The Simpsons titled Holidays of Future Past, the show presented a vision of a future where digital avatars are used to interact, socialize, and even relive past moments. In this high-tech version of Springfield, the characters interact through holograms and avatars, projecting themselves as younger versions of themselves or with modified features. This idea at the time seemed light years away from reality. However, by 2025, that vision has become surprisingly close. Platforms like Meta Horizon Worlds, Roblox, and other virtual reality experiences are making the line between the physical and digital worlds increasingly blurry. Digital avatars are no longer just a form of communication, but an extension of our personal identity in the virtual world. It's now common to see how people work, socialize, and have fun in these virtual spaces. The most surprising thing is that companies are developing AI-powered avatars that mimic real personalities, something we already saw reflected in the Simpsons episode where family members interact with modified versions of themselves. What once seemed like pure science fiction is now shaping how we connect and experience the digital world, taking the Simpsons prediction beyond humor to become a reality that redefines how we live, work, and relate. The Simpsons prediction about artificial intelligence. Closer than we think? Artificial intelligence has been one of the great themes of science fiction for decades, but The Simpsons was already showing its effects on the future long before the technology became commonplace. In a 2016 episode, the show featured an amusement park attraction entirely controlled by robots, and what started as something seemingly innocent turned into total chaos when the robots, led by artificial intelligence, rebelled against humanity. One of the most iconic lines from that episode was when one character mentions something like, "My cat's breath smells like cat food," a comment that at the time was just an absurd joke. But as the episode progresses, we see how AI not only manages the robots, but also makes autonomous decisions that threaten humans. What's striking about this prediction is that in reality, we're already seeing how artificial intelligence plays an increasingly important role in our lives. From self-driving cars to robot waiters in Japan, AI is everywhere. Are we ready for technology to become more autonomous than we imagined? Some experts, like Jürgen Schmidhuber, warn that AI could evolve in ways that humans can't control. The Simpsons already warned us about this future, where artificial intelligence could go far beyond what we thought possible. Will we be prepared to deal with the consequences? Flying cars and the future of mobility. The Simpsons predicted it, and it's already happening. One of science fiction's great dreams has always been the idea of flying cars. In a 2005 episode of The Simpsons, Bart and Lisa travel through a future where flying cars are as common as bicycles. The episode shows Springfield residents enjoying this aerial mobility with total naturalness, something that at the time seemed like a futuristic fantasy. However, today we are seeing how that prediction is coming closer to reality. Companies like Samsung Sky, with their Switchblade model, are already developing functional flying cars that have managed to lift off more than 500 feet into the air. Although this technology is still expensive, around $170,000, the progress is undeniable. The industry is actively working on prototypes that could make traffic jams a thing of the past, but in the air. Can you imagine a future where traffic doesn't stop because of jams on the streets, but because of air collisions? While we're still far from seeing flying cars as an affordable option for everyone, this concept no longer seems so far-fetched. And if we ever had doubts about how The Simpsons predicted the future, just look at this idea of aerial mobility and see that the future is already here, though not everyone can access it. Could this be the beginning of a flying future to come? Hollywood in Flames, The Simpsons Prophecy, about turmoil in the film industry. In the episode Beyond Blunderdome, Homer finds himself involved in a hilarious adventure where he teams up with Mel Gibson to remake a movie. But as usual in The Simpsons, chaos soon breaks out, and the episode offers a sharp and biting critique of the Hollywood industry. In its critique of the unpredictability of the film industry, The Simpsons predicted the internal chaos that would later unfold, from labor struggles to cultural shifts. Fast forward to 2025, and the Hollywood industry is in crisis. Writers and actors' strikes have halted the production of many films and TV series, highlighting the fragility of the industry. Meanwhile, advancements in artificial intelligence and new streaming platforms are reshaping the way we consume content, threatening Hollywood's traditional model. Additionally, the devastating wildfires in California have destroyed film sets and affected celebrities, reflecting the growing impacts of climate change. What's curious is that, despite all this current chaos, The Simpsons predicted it in their most comical and exaggerated form. Hollywood in Flames is not only a literal representation, but also a metaphor for the instability and transformation of one of the world's largest industries. It's incredible how the show managed to anticipate these changes, from labor challenges to technological disruptions, with an irreverent tone that continues to resonate in the current context. Music as a tool of mind control. In The Simpsons, are we being manipulated? In a surreal episode, The Simpsons show us how pop music can be more than just entertainment. In this episode, a boy band with a huge musical success is actually sending a subliminal message, encouraging listeners to join the US Navy. While this episode seemed completely absurd, like many other satirical moments in the series, The Simpsons were somehow pointing to something much more disturbing. Throughout history, music has been used as a tool for manipulation, whether in political propaganda or to influence the emotions of the masses. In fact, several studies have shown that music has a powerful impact on human behavior, from marketing to social psychology. In situations like commercials, advertising campaigns, or even in film, music is used to evoke specific emotions, influence our decisions, and in some cases, manipulate our perception of what we're seeing or hearing. While the idea of subliminal messages in pop music may seem like an exaggeration, in today's society, we are already seeing how digital content and visual information are used to manipulate emotions and decisions. Streaming platforms and personalized music algorithms, for example, suggest songs based on our previous tastes, which not only reflects our preferences, but also shapes and directs them according to predictive patterns. In a sense, The Simpsons were warning us about the power of music, technology, and mental manipulation in ways much more subtle than we could have imagined at the time. The apocalypse. According to The Simpsons, are we really on the brink of collapse? Since the beginning of its airing, The Simpsons has played with the idea of the apocalypse and social collapse. Over the years, several episodes have shown how the world of Springfield faces catastrophes and crises that shake social stability. One of the most unsettling moments is the episode where Homer predicts that the world will end next Wednesday. This line, said in a joking tone, reflects an underlying sentiment present
in a world gone mad, only a lunatic is truly insane.
In many Simpsons episodes, a kind of comic alert about the fragility of the modern world. In episodes like The Fool Monty or even Homer the Heretic, the show demonstrates how a society on the brink of chaos can quickly collapse if the right decisions are not made. In fact, some of the worst apocalyptic scenarios presented by The Simpsons aren't so far off from the crises we're facing today, from AI rebellion to pandemics and environmental collapse. Each of these episodes seems like a warning, a reminder that if we don't act soon, we might be doomed to repeat the same mistakes. While The Simpsons' approach is comedic, these moments also invite us to reflect on the real issues we face as a society. Perhaps, instead of just laughing, we should ask ourselves, is this a warning that the show has been sending us all along? Is the end of the world something that only exists on TV screens, or could it be closer than we think? The attack on Putin and the war between Russia and Ukraine, The Simpsons, and the prediction of a global conflict. In an astonishing political prediction, The Simpsons seem to have anticipated the conflict that would later unfold between Russia and Ukraine. In a 2014 episode, the show features a world leader who bears a striking resemblance to Vladimir Putin, launching an attack against neighboring territories. The plot, though comedic in its approach, unfolds in a way that now feels alarmingly similar to the events of 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine and triggered a global conflict with far-reaching consequences. Fans of the show were stunned when revisiting the episode, wondering how the writers could have predicted with such precision the geopolitical tensions that would engulf Eastern Europe. Is this just a coincidence, or do The Simpsons truly possess an uncanny ability to see what's coming? While the show has always been known for its satire and surreal moments, we can't help but wonder what other surprising predictions might be hidden in past episodes. As Russia's aggression continues to escalate and the lines between fiction and reality blur, many feel uneasy seeing how the animated prophets of Springfield seem to know what the future would hold. The difference now is that instead of laughing at the improbabilities of these predictions, the current situation makes us wonder if The Simpsons actually have some kind of vision of the future, as if global chaos were the central theme of their stories, and we are just the supporting actors who haven't yet realized the script that awaits us. The incredible Simpsons device that almost realistically translates baby sounds. One of the funniest yet futuristic devices ever shown on The Simpsons was a gadget capable of translating the sounds of a baby, such as cries and babbles, into words. In the episode in question, Marge uses this device to understand what her baby Maggie is trying to say. While the idea seemed absurd and clearly part of the show's comedic satire, The Simpsons were actually closer to reality than we thought. Today, thanks to advancements in sound analysis technology and artificial intelligence, researchers are working on devices that could understand and translate the sounds babies make, and some experiments have already yielded promising results. Imagine a world where you could understand exactly why your baby is crying, whether they're hungry or simply bored. Devices like these are already being designed and could completely change how parents interact with their young children. Additionally, the stress of sleepless nights could become a thing of the past, as parents would have the ability to better understand their child's needs from the very first cry. This advancement not only has the potential to change parenting, but could also have a significant impact on child development, allowing parents to offer more personalized care. Perhaps the future of parenting was already written in the Simpsons scripts years ago, and we are only now beginning to realize how close we are to making it a reality. And now what? Is The Simpsons the future-made reality? So what can we take away from all this? Is it pure genius from The Simpsons writers, who are able to blend satire with astonishing accuracy, or is there something mystical going on with what's really happening? We are already well into 2025, but one thing remains true. This animated show continues to blur the lines between fantasy and reality, leaving us with more questions than answers. The key here is not just the predictions or the surprising coincidences, but how The Simpsons managed to capture an essence of the future through their satire and societal observations. In many cases, it's not just about foreseeing events, but about offering a critique and reflection on how trends in technology, politics, and culture evolve. Is it really possible that the writers had a crystal ball? Or perhaps they are simply so attuned to the changes around us that they can anticipate the most unexpected turns in history. What's most astonishing is that even when predictions aren't exact, The Simpsons manage to challenge reality and make the future feel closer than it actually is. They force us to think about possibilities and, perhaps more importantly, to question what might be coming next. So whether you believe in the magic of The Simpsons or in the incredible work of visionary writers, one thing remains undeniable. This show continues to defy logic, inviting us to keep our minds open and to keep asking questions. Until next time, stay curious. Never stop questioning what seems impossible. Because if there's one thing we've learned from The Simpsons, it's that anything can happen, even the most improbable.